My objective today, my subject today, I will be applying color at the retouch and also a version application. You will need to know how to develop, you will need to know how to visualize placement for a, also assuring precision and even application when applying color to the new growth and also applying color to the version, also well known as mid-strand to ends, then to base. I have a learning activity this morning for the class. There are many reasons why we color hair. I have a little matching game. We're going to first start off with our visual on the board, and we will just be labeling. We're going to start off with our retouch. This was going to be considered our retouch service here. We also have version, what we call mid-strand to ends to base. This is going to be the application over here. Now, as we all know, when we're doing a retouch service, it's already existing color. It's already, we already have some existing color there. When we're doing a version, we will be applying, color to a full section of hair. When we are doing a retouch, we're going to be applying color base to the previous treated hair. Typically, in a retouch service, we always want to apply that color at least 1.5 inch. Well, we're going to leave 1.5 inch. So this will be considered my base on a retouch. My base is normally the scalp. In both services, we have bases as typically our scalp area. Required resources. The key of to successfully coloring is the key to successfully coloring techniques, we want to always use the CCC rule. We would like to know how to connect, meaning we're greeting, we are talking to the clients to make sure that we get the knowledge that we want to get to start. The second C, we want to consult. We want to find out what they're looking for, their needs. The third one is the action. That's when we start actually doing the process. And complete is the finishing touches. The supplies that we would need for our theory will just be our notebooks, our pencils, our pens, our workbooks, and also highlighters. If we're doing a project, color paper, plain paper. We will be hosting this in our theory classroom, and we have about 15 to 20 minutes. The prior knowledge. Our students should know common applications and applying to the new growth. Also using the proper tools. We have our proper tools that we're going to use as well. Students should know how to section and part for the placement for the product, as well as students should know the processing time. Students should know during the virgin application there is an order of steps. Blood exposure. Blood exposure. We're going to talk about the blood exposure just in case someone is injured, our client or ourselves. We're going to stop. What's the shape of this blood exposure? It's an octagon. Octagon always mean what? It's red, it means stop. So we're going to stop. We're going to inform our client that it's been an injury that has been occurred. We're going to wash our hands. Typically we have our hand sanitizer. We're going to get our first aid kit available. We always want to have a first aid kit at hand when it's an injury, blood exposed. We're going to have some Band-Aids. We're going to also have some antiseptic. We have alcohol wipes and we have antiseptic wipes. And maybe like gauze for like to clean up the blood around the wound. We have gloves as well that we will be using as well when we are working with our blood exposure. We have trash cans that we're gonna throw our trash, dispose our trash. We are going to clean up after we are done with our washing hand, with our steps in our blood exposure. Clean up, and then we're going to return back to the client. Students will have a chart to display our placement and to show proper procedures in doing the application of a retouch and a new growth. Also a version application as well. Before we start, infection control procedures must be done properly before we start any service. Version color technique is normally applied midway from the scalp. And what we would call our midway is typically mid-strand. That's this area here. This will be considered our mid-strand when we are applying virgin application. Next will be our base area, which is here. We will be applying for the virgin application. We will be applying our product mid-strand first, and then second we will go to our base. And the reason why we go to our base next is because the heat from the scalp will allow the time to accelerate the process. Next, we will attend to our ends. Our ends will come last. These are our ends in a virgin relaxer, a virgin color technique. We will go to our ends last because they are porous and they will color faster. We're gonna go, and that is our virgin application. We will go mid-strand to ends. Mid-strand to ends. Then we will go to our base. Okay, we're going to talk about the retouch. When we're doing a retouch, we already have color, we already have hair color already there. Hair color is already existing on the retouch. So typically it's about an inch from just scalp. Well, that we're gonna actually be using. So here we have our retouch. Okay. When we applying for the retouch area, we are only typically applying close to the base. That's typically, sometimes people have about an inch of new growth. That's the area that we will be applying the color because we already have previous colored hair. So we will be applying our color here close to the base. This is where our new color will go after it's formulated and treated to blend in with the previous color, previous hair color. And it will go, you typically, these are ends, but we typically let it process and blend. Retouch color technique is typically to match the existing color. Typically, sometimes it normally takes these applications sometimes about 3 to 8 weeks. Applications are usually from 3 to 8 weeks after the original service. That will be when we will do another retouch service at the new growth as the hair grows out. Students will be given a handout. Students will be given a handout to follow up with what they're learning in the theory portion. I have a fun fact. Application, when doing application base to ends, typically that is, we would call that sometimes a zone relaxer, but we're talking about version and retouch. Typically, the application is used to add or tone, darken existing color along the entire strand. That will be called version darkening retouch. Version darkening techniques. That's typically when you want to just darken the color. It goes all over the strand. So we will be doing mid-strand for version. Mid-strand goes first. Ends. Then you got your ends. Second. And then you have your base. Base will go last because typically, class, what does it does when you go to the base from the scalp, the heat from the scalp will cause it to progress fastest. So this will be 3. And that will be your version color application. Then we have our retouch here. Our retouch is typically class. It's typically applied where for our retouch? At the base. Where you see typically some people have gray color. They just want to cover up to like a brown or a black. So we will cover their gray. And this will be where we will start and finish. That will be, we will only be focused on the retouch. Students will also be able to learn more in my advanced color class, more techniques and colored application.
Baby, your presentation.